Greetings all, Frog here. Let's talk the CK2 2.4 patch notes. So this is going to be the new series because I'm loving CK2. So I thought I'd just go through the relatively, small patch notes and just talk about it. So let's skip right to the end. 703 lines. So you know what we're getting into. There are a number of things. I'm going to not go, into detail on every line by line, but I thought I'd at least talk through some of it and my thoughts on how this is going to change the game and what's good, what's bad, what's interesting, what I'm looking forward to, and all that business. So I've read through it. There are a lot of some interesting things, but I'll just go down through. If you want to catch a view of them, you can find them on the Paradox forums. And without further ado, here we go. So they divide this into a number of categories: major, minor, combat, modding, various different things. So we start with the major fixes. Now, it's not saying what's in the patch versus what's in the DLC. So I'm assuming right now that everything in this patch note is in the patch. That you're going to get this whether or not you buy the Horse Lords. Now, I'm going to buy the Horse Lords because all that extra stuff seems really interesting. But we'll go and we'll find out. And I was kind of half asleep when I read these the first time, so maybe I missed somewhere where it did differentiate between that, but I don't know. So hopefully this is large enough to read. It kind of looks large enough on my screen, but hopefully we'll go. So it starts with the major changes and major fixes. And one, they enhanced and renamed the Independent Realms map mode to the Realms map mode. Well, the enhancement, I think, is the major part, right? Renaming it, who cares? That's probably just a string fix, but I'm curious to see what that map mode is going to look like now. What I think is really cool is that you can now show sub-realms of the displayed actual realms. So if you're an empire, you can see all the little kingdoms that you have, which is really cool with that. So you can control left-click, control right-click, I assume command on the Mac. They added regions button to the province view, so you can show all the regions that the current province belongs to on the map, because there are a number of different regions and they do overlap. Left click on region buttons to highlight the next region on the map. Of course, right click to deselect the region. So that's kind of interesting. You can add it to the find titles ability to find regions by name, which is cool. So if you know what region that you're in, you can go that way and find all the titles in a region, which is kind of cool. This is an interesting change. They revised the Pagans Subjugation Cb so it completely subjugates the target, but no holdings change hands. So what used to happen is that when you subjugated a fellow pagan, is that you would actually own the land with a certain few exceptions. Now it looks like that's not going to happen. That the actual landholders will maintain their title, but that what you'll do is that you will subjugate them, so they'll become your vassals, as it will. Added stop seduction and stop spying decisions, which is probably good since they added seduction and spying, and until that moment when they added this back in, it was forever. So if you wanted to stop, well, too bad. Failing to imprison vassals, a vassal now correctly forces them to abdicate and flee the realm. Damn! This is an exploit that I didn't want them to fix. This is very unfortunate, because this was great. You could find a vassal of a vassal and try to imprison them, and if it didn't work, well, you just try again, and you just keep trying and trying and trying until it worked, and you got their money. Well, it doesn't work this way now, so if you try to imprison them, they will abdicate and flee, just like if you had done that with your own vassal on failure. So that is a hot fix for... Well, not a hot fix, but that's a fix for being able to get more money or being able to gain different bonuses and benefits that you could get by expelling those people, but now you can't do it. Very unfortunate. They added decisions to move prisoners between the dungeon, the oubliette, and house arrest, which is kind of cool because it changes the modifier on the prisoner, and I'm assuming that with these decisions now there will be some other modifiers to it that maybe people will like you more if you move them out of the oubliette back into the dungeon and things like that. Banishment no longer seizes all titles, but simply forces the victim to abdicate, which is kind of nice. It used to be that you would gain all the titles that the banished person held on banishment, which could be bad, because especially if you're in a vassal management type of situation, you might have ended up having too many titles and people would get upset, blah, blah, blah. Now, the titles are abdicated, but it's not clear here if it'll just go to the next in line for the heir, or if actually the title will revert to no one and you'll get to assign it. I'm assuming it'll go down the airline, but it doesn't say. Airline, huh. Added a bunch of new straits just for gameplay regions, which was nice because it was really annoying not being able to walk across certain places. Added geographical regions to the scripting language, which is nice. Added new provinces in Outer Mongolia and Basin. That is a pretty major change to add new provinces to the realm. It's now possible to gain the Crusader Mujahid trait as a character of any religion if you're participating in the Crusade or Jihad. This is actually a separate thing. That's kind of cool, I think, because you could be some of the lesser religions, and not lesser in terms of their ability, but just the size of the religion in this game. But you could still become a Crusader or a Mujahid, which is kind of cool. The save game files are 15% smaller in the late game, so that's kind of nice. Fix a situation that caused corruption in the save game. That's pretty good. We don't like the corrupted. They rewrote the management of characters to prevent late game CTDs, which are crashes to desktop, and that was kind of important. If you played for too long, and especially if you racked up a lot of modifiers, then it could lead to crashes and stuff. They fixed so generating naval ranges doesn't take ages anymore. It's now lazy calculated on demand. I don't know if that means that there's paradox math now involved or what, but you know, that's good, because especially if you were playing a Viking, things could drag down a little bit. Although, maybe not in this system. I don't know. CK2 is going to be so much faster with my new computer. I haven't even thought about that yet. I'm really excited about that. They fixed an issue with subunits referring to dead characters somehow sometimes, which is obviously bad, and obviously it could lead to a crash if that happened. There's no more CTD if the war overview screen for Crusade is open when it ends, which is good because you had no control over that. It would just end, and then boom, you're done. They fixed various crashes caused by combat, of course. There was a bug that the AI didn't utilize all cores available in the CPU. So that means not just that I have more processors available, and I'm now running a 64-bit system, so it'll actually use the processor and the full 8 gigabytes of RAM, but the game didn't use all the cores anyway. Well, now it can, so that's excellent. Optimized the pathfinding, which is good. Made the AI is faster when checking armies to do certain things, which is good. Optimized culling of non-visible objects. Optimized the fatwas and judgment. Blinding and castrate decisions no longer completely kill performance, which is all good. Optimized selection of potential events, which is all good. Optimization is always good. This game's going to run faster, run more stable. It's always a nice thing. Human player characters now have an overlay on their portraits, which if I played some multiplayer, that would matter more. I'm going to try and get my friend Jan to play a little bit more to see if maybe I could convince her, maybe even to go on the channel with me, but if nothing else, it'll be fun to play multiplayer with her. So that could help with that. Units with the player character in it now have an icon indicating this, which is kind of cool. That's like the essentially the general feature in EU4, so I'm hoping it's something similar like that. There's a star or something to indicate your characters in there, which is good. There's a new right-click interaction window for titles and settlements, which is fantastic. They've added more plots, focus, and ambitions to the diplomatic menu, which is awesome. Added title and settlement decisions found in the title and settlement interaction menu. Added tribal tax and levy laws. Added government map mode, which is cool. I'm all about map modes. It's now possible to switch county capitals if you hold both the current county capital and the barony you wish to become the new capital. So that's kind of cool. That's meaning like the city within the same county. If you wanted to change which city was the capital, you could do that, assuming you have both. You could freely move your capital to holdings which are not supported by your government, but it doesn't automatically change the government that you have. So there you go. Fixed a bunch of CTDs when doing all of this stuff, which is excellent. Added a minor title view, which is interesting. Added commander titles, which will be important later. Actually, it's right now. I thought this was under the combat section. Like I said, I was kind of half asleep when I read it the first time. Flank leaders can now only be the ruler, the marshal, or someone with a commander title. So if you haven't given the commander title to someone, they can't just lead. So you can't just pick random people. They actually have to give them titles. Flank leaders are now entirely separated from subunit leadership, which means that if you had a bunch of mercenaries that all had their own subunit leaders, it's not the best leader that's automatically the commander. Now they have to have the commander trait. And then the subunit or the subunits are affected by both the subunit commander and the flank leader, which is cool because now you have two leaders. And what would happen is even if you had subunit leaders, it only used whoever was what is now the commander position. So those are all pretty cool. Happy with that. Now we've got 600 some odd minor fixes. This kind of seems to me like a major fix. It's a minor edit for them, but boy is it a major fix. You have to be at least a king-level ruler in order to expel the Jews, which is another exploit that they fixed, which is really bad. It wasn't really an exploit because it was in the mechanics of the game. I think it was working as intended. They just didn't really realize how amazing that would be, because if you were a one-province minor, a one-county minor, you could expel the Jews. You could take a loan and expel the Jews and immediately have 500 ducats. That's huge. as a one province. Now you can't do that. You have to at least be a king. So there are some one county kings, but not many of them. So, bummer. They fixed a bug where it wasn't possible to readmit the Jews. If they've been previously expelled and you convert to Judaism, they're automatically back. So that's good. You can get the Great Hunt achievement if you've previously acquired another lifestyle than hunting, which is good because that was a kind of neat achievement that if you didn't do hunting or you made another lifestyle all the way through, you were done. You couldn't get it, which kind of was stinky. Messalian women can now hold positions and lead armies if you're also Messalian, which makes sense. Various improvements and fixes to text and events, etc., which just means that they translated English better. And the same thing right there. A number of minor fixes, improvements to event triggers, so they're actually going to happen at the right time. You can't actually sacrifice someone at the blot after you've decided to spare them at the blot, which was another good fix. This demanding fatwas, castrating, blinding, and throwing people into pits are targeted decisions. This is part of the optimization. So now that they're targeted, that helps with the optimization, which is cool. Characters who love their spouses very much now less likely to join holy orders, which makes sense. Oh, honey, I love you forever, but I'm going to become a priest. So, goodbye. No. And if they do, for whatever reason, the marriage is now actually resolved. They're not going to join a holy order if the spouse is currently pregnant with a non-bastard child, which makes sense. You can gain the strategist lifestyle trait, which is cool, so that's just another trait that they've added a whole bunch of stuff to. The Saxon band is only available before 1100 unless there are still Anglo-Saxon realms, which makes sense. I mean, they were pretty much gone after 1100, so what's the point? Only Zoroastrians can restore Zoroastrian priesthood, makes sense. Women can now become crusaders. When Catholic rulers accept the mending of the schism, which is when orthodoxy becomes the primacy, only Catholic courtiers that are their subjects now convert along with them. So if you had foreign pagan prisoners, or if you had foreign other Catholics or whatever that were in prison, they wouldn't suddenly become Orthodox. They would stay their same religion. They fixed a bug where not sacrificing prisoners stopped the blood from proceeding, which would be bad. I've never came across that because I always sacrificed them. Vassals petitioning the liege on behalf of prisoners now less common. It makes more sense, which is good, because that was kind of annoying. Chief Cadi must be the same religion as the liege, which makes sense. And they changed the expectations placed on the Chief Saudi, so that makes sense. No longer possible to start observing Ramadan if you are sick, which again makes sense because if you are sick, Ramadan is excused. That's a true life thing. The Become Heir ambition is now correctly cancelled if you become an independent ruler. That's makes sense to me. The Jewish Crusade target weights added for several kingdoms, which is interesting. An AI top liege will now never restore Rome to the Pope if a player owns it or is the liege of its owner, which I think is a very interesting change. It never has come about in my game, but I could see how it would, so that's kind of interesting. 2 more achievements that apparently were broken now should work. I've never done achievement runs in CK2. It's the same thing with EU4. I just never done them. I just like playing without Steam. But now that the Steam autosaves are much faster with my computer, I'll probably also play CK2 for achievements. So maybe I'll go for the Great Indian Sultanate or St. Thomas Dream. We'll see. Notifications are now correctly set to the place. That's good. It fixed various provinces in India that had no ruler scripted, so that's excellent. Updated faulty localization. Paranoid parents should no longer worry about potential plots against dead children, which, you know, is good because they're not there. They reworked the Holmgang events to use the personal combat skill rather than martial skill, which makes sense. When they created personal combat, it should have switched to that immediately. So that's a good change. I like that change. Reduced the MTH for the Holmgang if you have the war focus, which makes sense again. Fixed a rare case when duels could break. I haven't experienced that, but that's still good. Duels now potentially give Kinslayer, which makes sense. If you're dueling your kin, you should get a Kinslayer trait if you kill them. Shorten the text of the... okay, so that's good. So apparently they spelled out the event window. More localization corrections. The lustful cabin can no longer cause multiple pregnancies or create children between 2 female lovers, which is interesting. Handsome and lustful men... Yeah, I like this. Handsome and lustful men now also populate the cabin in the wild for the pleasures of people who find them attractive. So there you go. Various bug fixes for old events, which is good. You no longer feel like you're partying on your own when inviting people that are not your vassals. So that's kind of fun. Some fixes for the never-ending tournament for Syria. I did not see that, but apparently it happened. You no longer punish yourself when a prisoner tries to flee from your prison by charming the guard. That's good. Tactic script error fixes, business focus fixes, that's good. Duplicate name entries is always good, getting rid of those. Fix faulty names for more things, that's always good. We worked a Hungary decision to spawn a set amount of troops and to set you to feudal automatically. So that didn't happen. it was based on a percentage, I think. And then your government type didn't change, so you had to take another decision, I think, on top of that. I can't remember. I only played Hungary the once, so I don't know. Aruma played him a lot. Go check out his Hungary campaign. Added text for the outliner when disabling the tech alert, which makes sense just as a warning. Updated island regions for AI behavior, good. That's good to have romantic relations with your spouse. You're no longer tempted to teleport to capital elite armies when you raise armies for tribal jobs. That's excellent. You no longer try to talk to your dead children when you have the family focus. That's appealing. I mean, Ouija boards and all. That's just a good idea. Your partner no longer wields a limb-creating healing stick when he accidentally hits you. Well, that sounds reasonable. You know, you can no longer arrange a ball in the dungeon. Somebody on Twitter said this was sad. They like throwing parties in a dungeon. I agree. I think that should have been allowed to remain, but nope. Alas. I mean, what if you're nearly headless Nick? The AI no longer tries to straighten dynasty members when there's a player in the dynasty that's the opportunity to take the decision, which is good. Family Bliss now correctly fires, which is good. Oh, it was triggering off Mudslinger achievements? That's funny. Okay. Until Death Do Us Part achievement is now attainable, even if your murder plot is not discovered. Lope II de Vasconia now also starts with the count title of Armagnac in the 769 start date. Okay, that's interesting. Some Hindu characters not properly get to sect traits at the game start. That's good. You can go tiger hunting. No longer disappears after creating a custom empire. Good. Refactor to become Samrat Chakravartin to use regions to better work. Okay, so they're adding the region system and making it work. So that makes sense. Iron Crown no longer requires you to start with Lombard. Oh, that's interesting. St. Thomas Dream, you just said this. Oh, but it works with custom kingdoms too. Oh, that's cool. All right. All Indian feasts now work with custom titles. Very nice. Custom kingdoms in Bengal can now hold the feast. Okay, it's similar. Refactored lots of old events to use the region triggers, of course. You can no longer found the Empire of India while being a vassal, which makes sense. Improve the historical text setup. That's interesting. I wonder what that means exactly, how that's going to change. Fixed old issues with position of cities, troops, and France. Expansion bonus of all the database issues. So fix an issue with trade route chain. Yep. Top placing dynasty members in those events. Now, of course, that makes sense. The Orthodox Patriarch is now concerned if Orthodox rulers have heathens in their court. Makes sense to me. Runestones no longer try to mention non-existing parents. Fantastic, because they would be blank. The son of blank and daughter of blank, whatever. The strategist trait now has a combat modifier for 20% defense, which is good because there was no strategist trait. Hunter trait now has a combat modifier for 20% bonus during pursuit phase. Oh, interesting. Administrator gives you 10% movement. Architect gives you 20% bonus to sieges, and Game Master is 30% bonus to narrow flags. Those are all cool. Adding some extra bonuses for combat modifiers when you take different things along the war track. Events that remove the possessed trait now also remove related character modifiers and flags. Excellent. Unborn Shiite Caliphate claimants no longer arrive early before they're born. That makes a lot of sense. The Faqih trait is no longer considered a lifestyle trait, so it's some other type of trait. Crusader and Mujahid are now opposites. Get married and acquire landed title ambitions are no longer available for monks or nuns. That's probably a good idea. Women will now ask for a job title if they're allowed to hold it. Oh, that's cool. Add additional Wikipedia links. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Let's be honest. Most of us aren't reading it. Some do, and, it's kind of interesting, but if I'm in the middle of the game, I'm not going to go to Wikipedia. Optimized old events, that's very good. Paulican characters now interact with the Holy Sepulchre Holy Order decisions. Additionally, Massilians can now only interact with the Saint Adai Holy Order decisions. Interesting. Convert to religious religions and convert to parent religion decisions are now correctly blocked if you're the head of a religion. That's probably a good idea. Muslim Subjugation Cb and Jihad Cb, now sheiks and caliphs, additional ones have this. That's good. The Paulicians can mend the schism. Interesting. Hashashians can now resurface after being scattered. Defensive religions now properly also give defensive modifiers for camel, cavalry, and elephants. That's a good, probably small oversight. Monks and other people living in celibacy will no longer arrange stealth marriages. Well, that's probably a good idea. The court chaplain mission proselytize can no longer convert non-adult courtiers in the target province. Interesting. I didn't realize it did convert the kids. Vassals might now get the trait sympathy for Indian religions when you force convert them. Raising tribal armies no longer requires you to have positive wealth, which is good. Added different text variables, which is good. Added support for adding properties to create character effect, of course. Kingdom of Castile's de jure capital is now set as Burgos. Oh, okay, I like that. Characters that convert from Hinduism no longer keep their patron deity. You are no longer... Okay, that makes sense. You don't really want to keep your patron deity if you're converting to Catholicism. You're no longer allowed to vassalize holy orders by decision as Jerusalem if there's a truce between the involved parties. Discovering two vassals of the same sex engaging in carnal activities during pagan feasts no longer lets the liege join in on the fun. Oh, I didn't realize you could. Low trade practices tech negative trade post limit now goes from negative 100% to 0% of tech 3 down from negative 150, which is a good change because it was a little rough at the beginning. Fixed a bug with the witch nanny being able to hold the court chaplain job. That makes sense. Fixed incorrect obsolete title. That's good. Fixed some more bugs. Fixed some more bugs with the modifiers and all that stuff. Fixed a serious script bug in many CBs versus your liege. That's a minor change. AI, improved choice scripts for intrigue focus events. That's good. The base factor in AI will do no longer has to be an integer, which is interesting, so it can be any real number, I'm guessing. When your heir has an equal title to yours, your laws are now copied to his primary title on succession. Excellent. That was frustrating, to find all of a sudden you're under new laws because your heir had different laws and you were the same. You both were like kings, but he was king of a different country because you'd set him up to be married and you were trying to bring all this land in, and then you bring the land in, huzzah, and all of your laws changed. Very annoying, so I'm glad about that fix. The married filter now excludes concubines. Okay, I'm alright. Counselors now correctly show up too. Well, that's brilliant. The same religion opinion modifier now works in event modifiers as well as traits, which is good. Blocked impregnation by female lovers or modded female husbands. Blocked invitations to court of concubines and married women. Okay. Lovers and friends might accept invitations to your court. Very nice. Family focus. Fix some things. Fix serious bugs to the events. Target from preventing the claim fabrication job. Interesting. Fix the problem with allies or vassals staying in war when the vassals liege joins the other side. Allies or vassals staying in the war. Okay, well that makes sense. Character view, spouses and concubines of the player who are also the player's lovers are now listed as such, which is very, very helpful. Removed obsolete define. Very nice. Fixed inconsistency in tooltips. Oh, well that's always good because, God, their tooltips are all inconsistent. Vassal popes now receive taxes from bishops instead of the pope's liege. Vassal popes now pay taxes to their liege unless they dislike it. So it sounds like the taxes worked backwards there for a moment. Fix the crown authority laws so the unreformed pagan check is future-proofed and also blocks unreformed Zunis from changing them. That's okay. Fix the bug preventing the banished religion effect from working. Fix some broken kinship checks versus lovers. Lovers in prison can no longer get impregnated normally. Interesting. Change confusing tooltips on province, culture, and religion, so it'll be interesting to see what they did. Better tooltips for the realm view, which is nice. Betrothals are broken when you get the cannot marry trait if you're a monk or what have you, so that makes sense. Yep. Block the arranged marriage action. Yep. Fixed a bug, very good. Unlock the standard gender succession logs for tribals. Oh, okay, that's cool. Improve the tooltips when you cannot pick a focus, that's good. Better tooltips are always good. Move some potential triggers to allow for better clarity, that's good. Gavelkind fixed an issue with the capital county inheritance where the primary title is titular. I have not experienced that, but it's good that's fixed. The opinion modifier effects tooltip now includes the name of the modifier, very good. Fixed an issue where patricians could not select a spouse, which makes sense, because obviously they can as patricians. Add a tooltip for why you cannot play commanders within holy orders. Alright, that's fair. Fixed bug titular title holders would not get, that's good. Fixed another bug while changing laws in a regency. Fixed bug with the Victual Brothers and the Nice Hospitalier not having enough ships to transport their troops. Okay. Increased crown authority now correctly affects the opinions of the Temple of Virgo Bastards too. Damn. That's another thing I hope they hadn't fixed. You could increase crown authority and not piss off your priests and your mayors. Alas! Imprisoned courtiers who managed to escape. Well, now that's just direct vassals, though. So if they're vassals of vassals, it won't affect them, but still annoying. Imprisoned courtiers who managed to escape through event 50,001 now also flee the realm, which makes sense. Some flavor text changes, that's good. No longer possible to pick a new ambition through the right click if your current one cannot be cancelled, that makes sense. Fixed a bug with the first ornamental letter not being shown in narrative event windows if it was lowercase. Oh, makes sense. Added some text variables, which is good. Fixed some bugs with primogeniture and the purple-born system. Muslims are now able to fire their court imam if he's of another religion. Fair. That's good. Fixed some vibes, fixed some odd costs. That's good. Fixed many religious papal events, so they also work for the Fraticelli Pope, which is good. Sunset Invasion, who cares? Suns... Sorry, I mean, I don't play with it. I don't know anyone who plays with it anymore, but if the Aztecs get there, they won't flip the culture and religion immediately. It's only if they win the initial war, so good for that. Sons with traits blocking them from inheritance no longer count as unlanded, which is excellent. So good. They'd become a monk, or you'd send them to a holy order or something like that, and you'd gain prestige loss because they were unlanded. But they couldn't be landed. So, oh well. But it's fixed now, so I'm happy with that. Fix a confusing rounding error in needed counties held to create titles, which is good. New vassal religious heads now take their culture from their liege, which makes sense. Citizens leading portrait and event, whatever, okay. Fix a database error, good. Fix some freeze bugs, good. Fix a pretty serious bug with the automatic movement of spouses and concubines when employers change. Fix an issue with the default succession and secondary titles in merchant republics, very nice. Fix a bug with the spouse field and plots only working on your primary wife. No longer allowed to order your heir to take the vows if imprisoned by someone else. Makes sense, because I think it would free them. Vassal holy orders and mercs with the primary type title who lead revolts no longer get temporary revolter title. Very nice. Added missing adjectives, sure. Very nice. Merchant republics can no longer grant away any title de jure above the capital city. Oh, really? Okay. Fixed misleading text for designated heir in the Indian religions. Fixed a bug with the Nestorian still being listed in the Men the Great Schism event. Children who are in prison now lose their current guardian from outside the realm, which makes sense. No longer possible to grant temple holdings to children. I didn't realize that was possible. I wish I had known. I would have tried it once or twice. I suppose I still can. This patch isn't out. Anglo-Saxons are now also allowed to create the Kingdom of Saxony. Wow! Really? Imagine that. Good change. Change the listed order of the events. Very nice. Although whatever that event is, hopefully I won't just automatically click the number for the one. I'm like, oh, I want that one. Click. And that'll be wrong. So I'll have to read events closely maybe for a while. Updated the description of the Cathar religion. Added missing notification events for Zoroastrian Jewish Great Holy Wars. Adjusted tooltip for arranged betrothals. So better tooltips. Always good. Added missing claims on England to the children of William the Conqueror. Good. Fixed completely broken trigger any close relative. Oh, well, I wonder what it was supposed to do. Increase the priority of the contraction of disease message. Probably a good idea. Fix a bug where the call to war status was not reset on reload. Faction leaders can no longer present an ultimatum while holding any holding in their own realm is occupied. Excellent. Added max childbearing age check to event that, so that's fair. Made religious head titles always show their special COA. Oh, that's kind of cool. Now possible to specify icon religious field and decisions. Added missing, so that's like modding stuff. Added missing icon to various religious conversion decisions. Very good. Fix the broken display of seized trade post plots. Okay. Ambitious claimant adventures now move out of the realm. For fantastic. Fix the problem with that title. Oh, interesting. AI will not join wars against the spouse. That's fair. That's okay. AI toned down seduction by characters with many children. Toned down impregnation chances for reduction with many children. Okay. Fix a bug with kingdom adjudication on secession, where an heir could steal a capital from an unrelated third party. Oh, well, that seems like a good bug to fix. Added several missing alert names. Of course, removed inappropriate references to Europe in some map mode tooltips. Blocked the Subjugation CB against rebels. Fixed some Fixed some issues where invalid heirs could still inherit under tenestry. No longer possible to banish your spouse or concubine. That's an interesting choice. The intermarry field in religions can now take a religious group as well. Zune pagans now properly intermarry. Fixed a bug where the Chancellor might discover himself on his own titles and kill himself. Funny. AI improved the effect of gender secession laws on heir nomination. Good. Added some missing text. Fixed an issue with incorrect evaluation of concubines. That's all good. Religions with autocephaly are now all allowed to appoint non-rulers as court chaplains. Oh, that's cool. William the Bastard now gets the Conqueror nickname again if he succeeds with the invasion. Fantastic. The Wasteland County tooltip no longer shows no culture, no religion in some map modes. Okay, I understand. Now allowed to give de jure vassal counties to vassal merchant republics regardless of other rules. Oh, that's interesting. Patricians can now get the get married ambition, which makes sense. They fix the patrician get married business. We enable the full tooltip for the has plot trigger, so tooltips are good. Wars directly involving cardinals who are elected pope are then invalidated, which again makes sense. Fraticelli popes can have papal investiture, sure. Popes no longer demand, sir. Holy wars, yep. Failed rebels, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. Royal aid marriage tax now always gives at least 10 gold, so that's good. Oh, interesting. So the embargo CB can now only be used if the target has trade posts in your realm. Tribal vassal opinion modifiers and laws now actually work. Again, damn. Because that was great for a while. It's no longer possible to send the Chancellor to the wrong province in the tutorial. Okay, I embarrassingly didn't even realize there was a tutorial. Then fix another tutorial, more tutorial, more tutorial. They're not showing elective gavel kind in non-tribal governments, which makes sense. Solve the bug with banishing characters that stayed in the court. Doesn't teleport the king away from when you raise new tribal armies. Thank you, because that was annoying. Underage rulers are not allowed to lead armies anymore. Ooh. I want to be the boy king that wants to conquer it all. I want to play with my soldiers. Suppress revolt option works correctly for provinces of your vassals. Very good. Map mode now updates after sending counselors on job. Very good. Fix the bug with showing Aztec religion icons. Fix another bug with people who can't married patrol. Well, that's interesting. Improved evaluation of the build time and build cost. Very good. Support for enter key to start the game and multiplayer hosting and joining. Okay, well, there you go. Change conditions for some dynastic shield customization. You can't destroy contested titles, which makes sense. Although it was a nice way to get rid of problems that you may have had. Now during the conversion of government, all new laws are set to default, which is good. No longer delay any updating spouse and character view after getting married. Oh, well, that's nice. Pope never switches to any other holding, which makes sense. Fix the message list, fix the message box. Now when your character dies, ledger pages are updated properly. Well, that's fair. Now pressing a claimant's claim that is de jure of your titles will make him your vassal. Oh, that makes so much sense. Thank you for that. Fix the bug with the deposed anti-pope. Well, it's not deposing the anti-pope. Well, that's fair. Fix the bug with the disabled betrothal between persons. Tolerance technology no longer affects just landed characters. Now when losing... boo! To a claimant faction, you become the new ruler's vassal. Disabled granting last county title if you had allowed barony titles. Added opinion modifier when grant includes lower titles limit. That's good. Fixed another bug. Now an outliner, that's fine. Build time and cost modifiers now affect build time and cost of settlements. Okay. Province modifiers now updated on tech investment. Prisoner's opinion in prison list is now of player rather than prisoner's liege. Makes sense. Fix the issue when Iron Man checkbox didn't affect loaded save game. Oh. Okay. Fix the bug when army arrows disappeared during movement, which would be annoying. Fix the bug ruler. That's good. Now, during switching between alerts, all previous views will hide properly. Okay, these places are no longer considered to be ocean terrain provinces. Troop strength is now scheduled to be recalculated ASAP after buying a retinue, which is good. Inheritors now inherit budget estimations in case they are larger than current estimations. Again, thanks for fixing that, but screw you for fixing that. Change the Republic Trade Zone map mode to Trade Zone map mode. That's fine. Republic characters can now grant capital landed titles. Very good. Fix the bug preventing some settlements from being renamed after name-changing events. Of course, landless AI religious heads are not prevented from starting crusades anymore. Well, that's good. I don't care about the tutorial, which is bad, but I don't. Wrong government type taxes are now applied multiplicatively. Ooh. Wow, that could get really bad. So that could be pretty significant. Because for a while you could pretty much just ignore it, and it wasn't a big deal. So now it might be a big deal. Fix a bug which caused an extra patrician slot to appear in the Republic view after the Doge died. Fixed a bug when non-leading revolt faction members lose the war for independence. Okay. Counselors are now automatically recalled when the province in which they perform the mission becomes invalid for this mission. That's very nice, so you don't have to try and remember to do that. Turkish portraits so blinded. Okay, that's just a fix. Characters now stop leading units and flanks after unsuccessful imprisonment attempts are being granted independence. Okay. Okay, so set title holder effect now replaces the character in Holy Wars against the original character on title usurpation. That's cool. The Jor law changes opponents list is now populated correctly for merchant republics, which is nice. Apparently there was, imagine this, the wrong check mark whether they would or would not join. So that's been fixed. It appears there's been a lot of from errors, so that's another one that's been fixed. Being able to have concubines overrides polygamy now. Okay, subunit modifiers no longer include province modifiers twice. I didn't even realize they did. The total retinues number is no longer set to 0 on switching the tabs in the military view. That's pleasant. Moving capitals is the only possible during peacetime, which makes sense. Enable mods with spaces in their names to be correctly remembered between game sessions, which was good because that was frustrating. It's now no longer possible to start and join independence factions against the Merchant Republic. Makes sense. An error dialogue is shown when saving through the in-game menu fails. Potential plot power is not calculated correctly, so it was doing what before now? Paradox math. That's what they're saying. Fixed paradox math. Gold from non-important courtiers being cleaned up on character deaths is not being inherited anymore. Oh. Ooh. Friends are now considered allies. That's good. Loading screen borders will now display correctly on high-res screens. Okay. Fleets and port are now being selected by clicking on their model rather than the tiny port model. Thank you! History is now being applied correctly when the Old Gods DLC is enabled, but Charlemagne isn't. Fixed a world peace bug when everyone would become allied to everyone. That's kind of cool. Never experienced it. That would have been neat to see. Military view now also shows total number of troops available to each vassal. Thank you. Call allies vassal button tooltips now list potential allies, even when there's no war. Thank you, thank you. It's possible to revoke county level or higher titles even when they don't have de jure vassals. Titles in the lobby diplomacy list are now positioned correctly. Trade post limit is now being shown in the technology interface. Thank you, because that does help. Loading Iron Mine saves over 25 meg won't cause the game to freeze anymore. Good to know. It's no longer possible to join wars that would result in attacking vassals as the CB forbids it. Makes sense. Each character can now have a special title that persists after death. For instance, Genghis Khan. That's kind of cool. Localization fixed for plot events. Several lovers events now check that the rulers stay up, blah, blah, blah. Fix some lovers events. SOA events no longer fire for heretics. That makes sense. Feudal life no longer automatically causes incapable. More lovers events. More checks for events. Events fixed, events fixed, events fixed. That's all this is. Just a bunch of different events that were fixed. You can now call friends to war, which, since they're allies, that makes perfect sense. You can no longer use mercenaries against rulers that are their friends. You can no longer use mercenaries who are rivals against you. All makes sense. You can destroy and recreate holy sites. Interesting. Can only reform a faith if you hold at least 3 holy sites, which are temples and not counties. That's good, since you can destroy holy sites. It makes sense you have to have a temple there now. Okay, fix the crash. That's good. Good. Okay, that's good. Pardon me. Sorry, doing this late at night. New Holy Orders mercenaries blocked from warring kingdoms. Okay. Excellent. That's good. So peace offers ought to be more sensible now that they've reworked how AI views peace. Very good. Very good. Handle that. Fix issue with the play console command. Okay. I don't use the console very much, but alright. Correct mercenary cost is now displayed calculated. Thank you, because boy was that a crapshoot. We worked a lot of Muslim events to map onto new triggers, so that's more event triggers, more events. Yep. These are all just events. Okay. Just kind of skipping through some of these things. That's cool. So right-clicking on special interest characters in the outliner now opens an ASIC view as well as the diplomacy menu, so that's kind of fun. You could apparently reform pagans before you had enough piety. Who knew? S can now be used as a shortcut to split an army in 2. Is that going to drive me insane? No, I think that was Arumba's. We'll have to see. Added missing localization for Republic Arsenal level 3 building. At the first day I play this, I'm not going to have his shortcut mod anyway, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. The theology-focused opinion modifier is no longer calculated twice. Fair. Fixed bug when the faction events lower tribal organization, crown, or authority use their plot instead of the faction name. Okay. Dead rulers now have their titles ordered in the same way as when they were alive, which is helpful. Very good. So there can be a negative vassal limit. Now it's actually displayed correctly, so that's good. All this stuff is kind of minor. Nothing that kind of jumps out at me that I remembered from before that was like, hey, okay, great. That's good. Decadence alert is now showing when you have dynasty members negatively contributing to your decadence. That's very helpful. And it's at the top right of the screen is now red when so high that you risk being targeted with decadence revolt. Excellent. Very good. Tribal vassals now count towards your vassal limit regardless of the government. So that's a little bit different. Vassals will no longer get independent from the top liege when a viceroy dies while being over the vassal limit, which is good. More tutorial stuff. More stuff for that. Right. We're only about halfway through this thing, and, you know, we're 38 minutes in, so that's why I'm kind of skipping. Kind of what else was big? More AI fixes, which are always good. Alright, so a bunch of rebalancing of troop stats and stuff with combat, which I think it's going to be good. I mean, looking at it, it seems good. The light infantry was very, very good in very many things, actually. So I think this balance will be good. The horse archers were way strong, so that helps. And then with that, they changed tactics modifiers and all that stuff. So I think all of this will balance out much more of the combat, and you won't have the same, oh, I always want a bunch of light infantry and horse archers. That's all I want. Just give me all those. Give me all those. Well, now they're more. See, we got 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 4s, right? Down from 3s, 4s, 5s. So it'll be interesting to see how it fits in with all of the rest of that. There's now an elephant trample tactic during the melee phase, which is kind of interesting. All this stuff for modding, which I don't really care about. You can look through if you're interested in modding. There you go. Oh, well, we're not really halfway through. Oh, that didn't update because my cursor was still up there. Oh, good. I was freaking out. We were closer than I thought. Maps and history, which is kind of cool. So all of these things have been kind of corrected, which is cool. The shader now works, which I think should be great because I had to turn it off. Some of the shading techniques would just end up making black lines. So hopefully with this wrong matrix path, that might fix the problems I was having. I don't know if that's what it is, but we'll see. And now shows in-use land by tribals or nomads, which is kind of cool, and various map fixes, including properly connecting some bugged rivers, which was frustrating. When I was playing a Viking in the last patch, which is, what, 2.3 point something? When 2.3 first came out, I think, that's when this was introduced, that you couldn't traverse rivers, which is very annoying. So, oh well. And then fix some things with the converters. So that's it. That's the 704 lines of the release. I'm really excited to play this game. I cannot tell you how pumped I am. Tomorrow we'll return in the Paradox Hour with the normal EU4 for another 3 episodes. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 4 episodes. Because Tuesday night I'm not going to get home in time to actually create a video by the 6 o'clock Paradox Hour. But starting on Wednesday, I mean, I'm going to be playing this on Tuesday, probably for 2, 3, 4 hours. I don't know. I might come into work later on Wednesday. We'll see if I have any morning meetings that I have to come to, or if I can push my day back. But I'm just going to be playing the heck out of Horse Lords. I'm really excited. I might stream some if streaming works this weekend. I'm going to try to stream. Check out details on Facebook and Twitter for that. But in the meantime, man, the Horse Lords, I'm so excited. This patch is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm gonna grab it the most I can. I may get up early on Tuesday and play before work. I don't know. If I do, then I'm going to take down the White Elephant campaign, or I might have two episodes. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm really excited. I hope you are too. If you enjoyed looking at the patch notes and you like stuff like this, click that like button, and I'll do more of it. You know, we'll go over different patch notes, not all the time, but certainly for major releases like this. And I love talking about, you know, the theories behind the game and stuff. So we've got that going for you. Consider subscribing to the channel, and you'll get a lot of videos. And certainly the 6 o'clock Paradox Hour isn't going anywhere. So hopefully you enjoy it and you'll consider subscribing. And until next time, cheers.